Hi, Chris Newman, Truth and Consequences. In this series of short videos, I'm laying the groundwork for a model of reality that matches very closely your experience, what you live, what you go through in relationships, inside your own head, in your cultural experiences, possibly in your business world. The model, I think, is robust. I derived it from my readings of, wait for it, the Bible. Don't be afraid. Relax, relax, relax. I'm using key symbols to explain situations in the real world. So in the presentation, we're going to look at states of reality and their origins. Not complicated. I'm giving it very simple and very straightforward. Now, we're going to use the tree as the symbol for a human being. And the tree being referred to in Genesis as you've got the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge, good and evil. Those are two types of human beings. Or two types of, not separate species, but two types of relationships that we have. Two types of states of reality. That's what I mean. I don't mean separate types of humans. That point's clear. In our daily life, we're dealing with moral reality and cultural reality. What I mean by that, moral reality are your messages inside your own head and your heart that you communicate with yourself, your standard of value and judgment. Cultural reality means the outside signals, messages, input from the environment that you were born into, or that you've adopted, where you live, the cultural, social, political, whatever world of business, relationships, work, home, all that. So those two, the external cultural reality and the internal moral reality, constitute the realm within you which you find yourself. Now, that's the world as we presently know it. And I'm going to express that the moral reality you're dealing with is about truth, lies and duplicity, because the world that we found ourselves in, that we were born into, is not all clear. So these things are in a constant challenge to you. Is something, am I thinking the right thought? Am I aligned the right way? Am I checking myself? Am I getting this right? And the cultural reality, you're dealing with fact, fantasy and legend. These are the stories, the messages, the inputs that you get from the world around you, from what people might tell you, what you might hear, what's on the TV, in the newspaper, whatever, on YouTube. Fantasy, fact and legend. Those three cover the description that the culture gives you of the world that you live in. And lie, truth and duplicity is the things going on inside as you interact with the thoughts and the situations and relationships. And of course, these are all linked within your experience of relationships, purpose and so on. However, there is a deeper ground of reality that we find ourselves in, because these two situations are derived from what is described as the forbidden or fallen model, the tree of the knowledge good and evil. And what most people don't understand is the description of the tree of the knowledge good and evil is a very deep message to us. We've got evil and good and evil. These two things are not dialectical opposites. God is not like God is good and the devil is evil. This is not understanding the message. Good and good and evil create the reality of the tree of the knowledge good and evil, which is the forbidden or fallen model, because nothing here is totally trustworthy. None of it. Something that seems good may have elements of evil in it. Something which seems evil may have elements of good in it. Something which is good and evil is very confusing. That is called the labyrinth. I call that the labyrinth of human history, of social reality that we are living in. And the very point of origin, the beginning, the truth, life and love, the heart of the business is the tree of life, which is the original ideal man and woman living complementary relationship, harmonized, functioning entirely within the tree of life model, which is the original heavenly model. Neither good nor evil, it is pure. I'm going to write that word down just for our understanding. It's pure. It's not polluted. It's not fallen. Here we've got the misery of loss of trust, of betrayal, of loss. So we find ourselves in this world and we think that situation, we think that's all there is. And then we pretend that there's this ideal world somewhere else that we don't know about. And no one's willing to accept, or very few people are, the fact that we're trapped in a labyrinth and that there has to be a way out, and that there could be a way out, and there is a way out. But it is definitely not within this situation. It's impossible that if you're in a confused moral reality and a confused cultural reality, that you're going to be able to figure it out. You have to get your way through this business. This model explains you've got to get past this to get to this one because of the way our history is developed. I've given you a very simple and loaded overview of the fall of man and the original ideal and the world that we're in now. You may not like that description. You may want to come up with a different one, but I don't think you're going to be able to better what I've come up with. I'd be very interested to see and hear what you have to say. Remember, I'm not attributing myself as the founder of all this. I didn't create these things. I was born into the world of confusion. I had to find my way past the barrier to identify the source, and then I could understand how it all fitted together. This is not the original plan. This is not the original plan. This is the original plan. It's up to us as trees of life to become trees of life, to live with truth and love in a comprehensive and meaningful world. But so far we've been underachieving, stuck in this realm, messing around with all this nonsense in a labyrinth where there is really no solution within the situation. Okay, I've given you a view of states of reality and their origins. This is the present confused state. This is the barrier, and here's the original state. To get past this takes absolute commitment and absolute truth and absolute love within your heart. So I've identified the key points. I've shared it briefly with you. There's a lot more to this. However, that's the basic bones from which you can develop a very powerful understanding, which I think beats just about everything else. Thank you for your interest, and I look forward to any feedback. Chris Newman, Truth and Consequences.